Hey everybody, it's Seth. I'm here bringing you Campers M perspective. We're gonna have a little bit of fun just watching some Campers M episodes from the olden days and enjoying them. I think it's gonna be quite a treat because I haven't seen these in a while myself, so I'm going to be watching them with you and reacting and just telling you what I remember and what was going on and what was happening. We are going to do three episodes in one this time, and it's because these next three episodes all run about 2 minutes top, and that's the opening, which we've already talked about the opening, so we're going to go ahead and skip it because the opening was consistent throughout most of season one. And then we will also skip the credits, so that way we're just seeing the meat. And in seeing the meat, we're going to talk about what is known as in production a bottleneck episode. A bottleneck episode is when you don't have a lot of time and you're trying to throw together something very quickly. Usually there's only one backdrop or two backdrops in this case. Like you stay in a central location and you film it, and maybe you just take a couple of different angles. For someone like myself who hasn't been doing a lot of filming, I didn't even know I was doing bottleneck episodes at the time. I was just trying to get stuff ready for church camp. That way we'd have something to show. And in doing that, we came up with some real chance to do character development in Campers M in the middle of season one, and we really wanted to give a finale to all the campers and all the people who were watching. So this really led up to us showing you who our characters were outside of that card game before we could even come up with a season finale. I mean, we didn't know what it was going to look like, what it would be, and this was just a way to let these guys do what they do and be themselves and see what we could use to make a finale. So here is Campers M in eBay.
This is our story.
What are you thinking? You took my car. I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna put you back behind my forward.
This is actually a really hard episode to make because when we made it, it was right next to a vending machine. And I didn't have dedicated microphones like I do right now, and I still don't have dedicated microphones for filming on location. So when you try to film with a broad microphone, it's trying to catch everything. And when it's trying to catch everything, there are noises that will come in that tend to overpower. And without advanced editing techniques, such as even a MacBook Pro, which at the time I was using a Dell Windows Vista laptop to put these together, you have challenges that you really just can't fix. And if I were to go back and redo Campers M eBay, if I could find the original files, I'm sure I could make it look better now. But I don't know if I could or not. It'd be hard to find the files.
And I'm gonna drag you like a toothpick. You think you smart? How about that? How about good flip with the fishes? How about I take you and I try to sell you on the internet? On the eBay. That's a good place. On the eBay? What the heck is that, man? Oh, the Amazon. Yeah, the river to be. Or Craigslist. That's a good place. Good place to do it. I'll take you and I'll sell you to my grandma. To your grandmother. Are you kidding me? You're gonna be sleeping with the fishes, guy. You look stupid.
All right. So that was Campers M eBay. And some interesting notes is that was very much improv. That was just one scene. We didn't know what we were going to do. So you saw right at the beginning that one of our main cast members, and honestly, we hadn't even named him at the time. I think it was Chad, but I don't remember who he was playing. But that was Francisco, and the names are escaping me. I've got to check the names. Hold on just a second. Tommy. Okay, so Tommy is in the beginning of the eBay scene, and what you notice is he just kind of walks out the camera picture because we didn't even know what we were doing with that. It was just a way to make something quick and develop something and show something to the kids, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. So Francisco, who was played by a friend of mine named Evan, And then Zach, who he had played, Zach had played Uncle Joey as the boss. He and Evan and Chad, which would be Tommy and Francisco, all just got in front of the vending machine. They were ready to go, and as soon as he saw that they had some chemistry going, he just backed out. I mean, we weren't sure exactly how it was going to play out. And at the end, I actually had to cut it short when they started attacking the vending machine. And if I can find the clip, I'll put it in. But there's a scene where Evan just goes up and starts like dancing against it. And it was funny, but it wasn't, it was just too weird to put in a church camp video. So I'd show that to you if I can find it, but if not, I'm sure you could maybe just envision it or not. Maybe you shouldn't. So let's move on. Here is Campers M, episode 3, restrooms. And eBay restrooms and Prank-A-Style could almost all be taken into like their own just little pocket. Because if I were to define the first 4 episodes of Campers M, here's what I'd say. Campers M is about bad guys. These are bad guys, and they do bad things. But here's what they're doing when they're not doing bad things. Here's what they're doing when they're chilling. It's almost like a Teen Titans Go style show, and we filmed before Teen Titans Go, or before at least I started ever watched or knew about Teen Titans Go. So it's like, these are bad guys, but here's what they're doing when they're not being bad guys. And the truth is, they're just guys. They're goofballs. So with that in mind, here is Campers M, restrooms.
And so I told him I want to call it.
Kamera không chơi không tay.
Oh my goodness. Oh, my stomach's killing me. Oh.
Oh man. I did assign a different color to the eBay subtitle as opposed to the restrooms one, and I don't know if I did anything different for Prank-A-Style. Tony and Francisco are interesting characters. Francisco, in the first episode, wasn't able to talk, and it was hilarious. Everyone loved it. So then eBay, he started talking, and people didn't find it quite as funny. And the reason he did the jibber jab voice they did was because he couldn't really do the Campus M nasally voice, and I can't even really do it either. That's why I wasn't in the show. But he can do the shakudo hudum madam badum sly. He can make up new words, and I can copy some stuff he did, but he just delivered so well on it. The kids loved it that when we did the eBay episode, everybody was kind of like, huh? He's supposed to be, not making sense, and he's not supposed to be talking. So one thing we do with Francisco is we say, okay, you're going to go back to, that jibber jab you were doing. And then for Campers M restrooms, Tony was walking into the bathroom, and he was talking a lot. But what everyone really liked about Tony, who was played by Anthony, is that most of that one episode, the first episode, he said, what? And everyone just kind of expected that from him. So later on, you're going to see that we really got back to Evan just saying random things as Francisco, and then Anthony as Tony just saying,
what?
But you didn't get to see that in the restrooms episode because we were doing character development. This was our way of testing very quickly, seeing what our audience liked and what they didn't like, and it was our bottleneck episode 2. So now we're going to get to our third bottleneck episode in the Campers M series, and bottleneck for an S. Tumbler production is very different. S. Tumbler filming in one place and filming something short, that's a bottleneck. Some shows will give you a whole 30 minutes of bottleneck. I don't like to do that, and I don't film enough that I can do that. If I did film enough, I'm sure I would, but we're just not there. So now here is Pranka Style, which if I were to go back, I might actually rename this one because I don't think the names age well. But we'll see.
Just look at it right there. He was in a bathroom, and then he went out of the bathroom. Super goofy fell over in a chair. Hey, how you doing?
And at the end of that, he actually started talking, and he named himself Thomas. Now, there were two problems with that. One, we had already named him Francisco in another thing, I believe, or at least we were about to. And the other thing was, once again, the kids didn't really like him talking normal. So whenever he introduced himself as a normal speaking human, it didn't go well with our kids. And that's who we were making these videos for. So we had to please them, and in pleasing them, we just had to kind of do our best to move on. So that's what we did, is I cut out the scene where he's saying, "My name's Thomas," and then he said something about "shoot him a kleider, hold him, madam schlei in my pocket," and that made it into the bloopers. So go YouTube, check out the Campers M blooper reel from season 1 and enjoy it. Season 2 didn't have as many bloopers because it was much more involved with the production of how many characters and how many minutes we were making each episode. I mean, the episodes were huge. We didn't even get to show them all at the camp, which was tragic, and everybody to this day, still kind of sad about that because no one will get on YouTube and watch them, but that's okay. So there was Campers M eBay, Campers M Restrooms, and Campers M Pranker Style, where we kind of developed Tony, we developed Francisco, we got to see a little bit more of Uncle Joey, a little bit more of Tommy, not enough of Tommy. Tommy really gets character development in the last 2 episodes of the season, and it pays off big in season 2, in my opinion.